trends and drivers in MENA Integrated Resorts and Hospitality.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and I'm very excited to be moderating this very interesting panel. So I would like to invite our audience here, if you can please take a seat on some of the chairs in front. That would be nice. You know what? I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Jenny Ortiz-Bolivar. So I am the Asia Lead Senior Journalist for Sigma World, and I've been a journalist for 15 years now. Bulk of that, almost a decade, was with CNN Philippines. So I've been covering the industry, business, markets, not just in the region, but globally. So it's really very interesting how the integrated resorts are growing, not just in MENA, but globally. So in this panel, I'd like to call on, we have Omid Honari, International Education Expert, and later on we will be joined by Her Excellency Aynour Tatanaki, Chairwoman of the SME District Group and founder of #Department Store. And of course, later on, we will also be joined by Her Excellency Cláudia Pinto, the Head of Sustainability from the Office of His Highness Sheikh Marwan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. All right? Who here? Hi, Omid. Please take a seat. Very exciting, I'm sure. Now, I'm sure if you're in Dubai, you will agree that integrated resorts are the landmark, are becoming the landmark of a city. So we have here in Dubai a number of integrated resorts becoming a landmark, right, Omid? And we have in Singapore the Marina Bay Sands, and we have in Macau, for example, all the integrated resorts there. Even in the US, in other regions as well, integrated resorts are really becoming not just an economic driver, but also a landmark of not just a city, but a country. Now, Omid, I want to ask, especially for integrated resorts here in MENA, we are seeing it evolving beyond the hotels, right? What elements are now most critical in creating, truly world-class, and of course, it should be destination-led guest experience? Can we have his mic open, please? All right.
I think it's working.
There, it's working now. We can.
So, great. So I'm horrified to know that the problem was I didn't switch it on. But thank you for the welcome today. And I'll espouse a few points on the topic before joined by our colleagues. First of all, thank you very much for the welcome here today. Very important topic. From my perspective, and to reply to your question, Dubai, the UAE broadly, and Dubai specifically, has, as we're all aware here in our different areas of expertise, sat at the forefront of driving towards new trends, opportunities, and developing its own presence on the international stage within that paradigm. Right. I've been blessed to call the UAE and Dubai home for about 16 years, and I've always realized that when it comes to global economic trends, people's mobility, etc., Dubai does tend to get at the forefront of things. Now, one of those elements that Dubai is playing, in a very positive sense, a little bit of catch-up with the Macaus and the Las Vegases, etc., is the idea of the integrated resort. Yes. So the city has grown in its economic position and in its cultural position as a leader within the world in terms of tourism, hospitality, and a business and cultural environment where elements from all over the world have been invited here and feel welcome and at home here.
Yeah.
So just walking through the lobby today, I witnessed at least 20 to 30 different languages in a
Yes.
very dynamic business environment. Now, the next phase in the quantum leap of the welcoming environment is this concept of the integrated resort,
Yes.
of a resort which is vertically integrated, which is not just for business or pleasure or accommodation or stay, but integrates 5 or 6 different things. My prediction is within the next 5 to 10 years, Dubai will not just be a player with Singapore, the US, Macau, etc., but will be a leader because of the quality of which it does things.
Now, of course, Omid, I want to ask you because, of course, we know integrated resorts. It's all the structure, it's the building, but talent, it's the manpower behind it. Those are also driving how an integrated resort can be a success, right? Now, for talent, how must, education and skills development evolve to, support the scale of this sophistication of integrated resorts?
So, very, very good question, and that hits at my expertise, which is education, which Dubai is another leader of. In Dubai, we have, people don't know this, but we have the largest number of international curriculum schools on planet Earth. The largest number, not per capita, but literally the largest number. In Dubai, we have in the UAE, we have the world's second largest number of international branch campuses of universities in the world, only second to China. And per city, Dubai is number 1 in the world. So when it comes to education, there is something to keep in mind as I respond to your question. So a question for you. Do you know so everyone knows what an MBA is, and it's a highly
Yes.
desired degree. Do you know where the concept of the MBA came from?
Actually, no.
Okay, interesting point, leading to my answer. In the 1950s in the US, the MBA was the Master of Business Administration, was invented for engineers who had engineering degrees and were working at various engineering roles, but did not have the business acumen to become a manager. And because they were advanced in their careers, they did not have the time or the motivation to go back with an 18-year-old and do a Bachelor of Business Studies. So the MBA, the Master of Business Administration, was created as a 1 to 2 year condensation of business expertise to teach engineers how to become managers, factory leaders, production leaders, etc. So what we saw in that period of the 1950s in the US was industry demand pushing one of the most traditional elements of industry, which is education, to take a quantum leap and learn something new to equip local populations to handle industry. Now, what I believe is we're exactly at that point with the advent of integrated resorts in the UAE, and the next post-pandemic, I believe we can still call it post-pandemic boom in things like tourism and human mobility, whether it comes to business or whether it comes to tourism.
Yeah.
So I believe with the highest concentration of international curricular schools that are trying to compete on a global stage and doing so successfully, and the highest concentration in Dubai of international branch campuses of universities from all over the world, from Australian to Canadian and onwards, we will see the education system catch up to be able to not just adequately, but in an accelerated and excellent fashion, equip local skills to be able to cope with what the industry has on offer to provide that next little leap in tourism and hospitality within the UAE.
Now, of course, we're here in Dubai, and we all know that the hospitality sector is composed of different nationalities. How do you think, integrated resorts should equip their team that, everyone is at par, at the standard, when it comes to, representing the brand?
Yeah, I think leveraging that diversity as a strength rather than a limitation. So I had very good friends of mine, a family that recently moved to a country in Europe. And we had a coffee just a few days ago when they were visiting Dubai. And I asked, how is life? And they said the most noticeable decline in the quality of life is with the service industry. And I said, really, is that so? And they said, yeah, this was just
That's interesting.
really interesting,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They said it's a personal experience, but I thought it was a very telling one. The population is so unilinguistic. They speak just the local language. They know just one culture, the local culture. So there are barriers and limitations to the ability to be able to welcome multiple people from multiple cultures. Now in Dubai, look at you and me. I mean, but just me, I have 3 nationalities represented on stage, with you of at least a 4th. So I think the beauty of Dubai is the fact that it's welcoming and incorporates people from multiple cultures and linguistic groups. So I think leveraging that as a strength and integrating that element of cross-cultural understanding to things like education and training programs is what will continue to drive Dubai and the UAE as a leader in the diversity of the ability to engage with multiple populations.
Now, I want to ask you about, skills and mindsets. What skills and mindsets will hospitality and resort leaders need, over the next 5 to 10 years? A lot is happening, especially because of, we now have immersive and technology-driven, businesses.
Yeah, in many countries, people view some jobs in the hospitality sector as a basic stepping stone to another job, to another career. Maybe it's a part-time work, maybe it's something while they study. I think the genuine emergence over the past 10 to 15 years globally as with hospitality and tourism as a complete career path within itself is itself something that adds a significant level of quality to the work. Yeah. Second of all, I think that the people should, in the Persian language, we have an expression, all work is sacred.
That's true.
It's true, right?
That's true. Yeah.
I think the acknowledgement of the work as something sacred and beautiful, as the ability to serve our fellow human beings, as the ability to make a holiday or a business trip comfortable, seamless, frictionless, is in itself incredibly beautiful. So I think that, again, the link between education, training, human resources, staff selection, promotion, career or opportunities, and the feeling of absolute privilege that we live in this amazing place and we're able to serve this amazing place and our fellow human beings. I think all of those things, so the soft skills elements, almost the element of sort of spiritual satisfaction and the career-ready elements. And this is amongst all industries. So you mentioned new industries. The other day I had someone come to the university and ask us, I want to do a Bachelor of AI. And I smiled at him. And this is a young kid, a 16-year-old young gentleman. And I said, Bachelor of AI, tell me more about that. He goes, I don't know, but I need it to be my career. So again, we see trends driving industries. And when we talk about something as eminently present and something as eminently integrated into the fiber of a city like Dubai, of course new elements of technologies, advancement in technologies, things like artificial intelligence integration will start to play an even more vital role in shaping the elements of what the industry looks like. Again, not just today, young men and women are not just talking about what job they're going to get in 2026, they're thinking about 2030. So absolutely, development, evolution, technology, innovation, all the things that the city is famous for and provides a natural platform for in the industries.
No, that's a very interesting anecdote that you shared. But Omid, I want to ask, because you've mentioned AI there, how is it affecting when it comes to, the manpower? Because I've covered the space, the technology space, and when AI became really mainstream, a lot of industries and workforce, to be honest, were threatened. Oh, there's AI. How will this affect my job? So in terms of the hospitality sector, the tourism sector for the talents, the workforce, was there, that thinking, oh, maybe AI or technology will impact what I do?
Well, I hope you don't mind me flipping the script again on you, but let me ask you a question. A couple of questions. One, you've been a journalist for 15 years.
15 years, yes.
Since you were 5 years old.
Yes, that's true. Since I was 5.
Okay, talk to me about journalism. In the realm of journalism, would I be correct to say that maybe an ambition would be to work for a major TV program or radio station, a CNN or one of the big brands, right? That would have been, like going through your education and career development, that would have been the end goal, right?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Can I ask you a question? How has that changed?
Talking about being a journalist and having all the technology, it did affect us somehow. And there was a point where I was talking with my colleagues in the newsroom, and we're reporting about AI, but eventually will this replace us? I guess there was that point in time when AI really became mainstream and all the industry are really integrating it, that, people in that industry are like, what's going to happen with my job? But then eventually you learn that you have to adapt because AI is here to stay.
I completely agree with you. Now, talking about your industry, journalism and the media, would you not agree that we've had people fired from Fox News and CNN go on to become considerably bigger podcast and YouTube stars than they had ratings on the legacy media?
Yes. Well, you know what? It's changing. It's changing. Now, journalists, I'm talking to my colleagues in the mainstream, we're talking about, no, we need to be in the small screen as well.
100%.
We can't be, just confined in the television or the monitor. We need to be here where the audiences are.
100%. I totally agree with you. So that's exactly indicative of the sort of shifts that different industries go to.
Yeah.
Now, to come to tourism and hospitality, when we rewind several years before the advent of technology-driven platforms like Airbnb, we had
Yeah.
the master legacy hotel groups, which are amazing, and I love them, and I would never say anything bad about them. We had the IHGs and the Marriott groups, so on and so forth, right? Now, when something like Airbnb came along as, and this word is overused, but as an innovator and a disruptor,
Yeah.
it completely undercut the way in which people think about travel and stay. Now, in the element of things like integrated resources, so a single destination within a desirable destination that incorporates everything from business, entertainment, lifestyle, tourism, stay, accommodation, dining, we talk about the development of another era of disruption within the whole global human mobility landscape. So we had in Dubai business hotels, and we had
Yes.
family hotels, and we had fun hotels. Now, if we have the combination of the above, particularly with, for instance, the Wynn Hotel coming up in Ras Al Khaimah and many more to be
Yes.
similar to it, we have a little bit of a mindset shift about what the stay and the destination can look like for me. So when I go for business to the UAE, can I take now my family to have a holiday while I business? It's a little bit of a paradigm shift, which in 5 years' time we may be talking about in completely normal terms, but today is something quite exciting for the industry.
Well, Omid, I wish we have more time, to be honest. I'm learning a lot from you, but my final question is this. What is your outlook for the MENA region in terms of how integrated resorts are developing or will develop?
Yeah. So when I got into the sphere of work 25 years ago, when I was also 5 years old, a great mentor of mine who was in the political sphere said to me, back in my hometown of Melbourne in Australia, he said to me, whatever business or field of endeavor you get into, If you don't have a China strategy, forget about the world of entrepreneurship. Today, and in the past 15 to 20 years, the world has shifted. Unless you have a Middle East strategy, and I would argue a UAE and a Dubai strategy, forget about business. This is the world of openness, tolerance, dynamism, and business future in terms of every field of endeavor. So along with that is where humans stay. So resorts, tourism, hospitality, underpinning the facilitation of people to seamlessly and frictionlessly and with fun and enjoyment come in and out of the region. So I see the tourism hospitality field as deeply integrated into the broader economic sphere of the MENA region, the UAE and Dubai. I think very exciting things happening, very exciting things coming down the line. And I envy those specifically in the hospitality field and wish them all the best of luck. And thank you for your time today.
Well, thank you so much, Omid. You know what? And I'm excited for what's in store in this region just by hearing what you're saying right now. And I'm sure all of us here learned a lot from you. I love how this panel became and turned into a fireside chat. But thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure and my honor. And thank you to the audience as well. Wish you
Thank
all,
you
all
so
a great day.
much.
Thank you.
Everyone, a hand for Omid, please.